Yeah, welcome back everybody to another Feel Your Sound tutorial. This time we want to talk about guitar strumming. And I want to show you a simple way how you can create your own guitar strumming patterns in your computer. So what will we create? We will create something like this. In my tutorial I will use Sandok Song Studio, but you can use any DAW that you like, so the principles will apply to anything that you want to use. And I want to get started now. So let's take a look at Sandok. I created a chord progression over here and it sounds like this. And now when I click on Use Chords, I can create a strumming rhythm in the Sandok sequencer. We have the full chords mode, so in full chords mode the sequencer will always trigger all the chord notes. And as you can see, we have a slider down here, and that's the strumming slider. So when I pull up this here, Sandok will play back the chord notes in a way where a little bit of latency is involved. So let's take a look. I will export the MIDI file, put it down here, let's zoom in. As you can see, when I work with this slider, Sandok will create some notes with a bit of space between them. When you see a guitarist, the guitarist always plays in a certain movement. You pull down your hand, then put it up again, and then you keep this motion going all the time. The second rule is, when you do this movement, sometimes you decide to hit the strings and you will hear the sound of the guitar then, and sometimes you decide that you don't want to hit the strings. So basically you keep this rhythm going with a strum down and strum up, and sometimes you will trigger and sometimes you won't trigger. So let's recreate this in Sandok. I will add another trigger here and pull down the slider. So let's listen. Yeah, second rule. When you work with natural instruments, you want to keep velocity in mind. So when a guitarist plays on the guitar, the velocity won't be always the same. You will always have small variations and small differences. So how can you do that in Sandok? You click on Advanced and then use Randomize Velocity. Let's listen again. So let's get to the first rhythm. I will use a length of 16 steps because 16 steps is a good length to create an interesting pattern. In the beginning, I would recommend to use a very simple rhythm. So start with a simple rhythm and decide where you want to put your focus on. For example, let's create something like this. Let's listen. That's pretty simple and very focused. So the first thing that we have to do, let's add some strum. So on the bold steps, we will use a strum in this direction, like on the 1, 5, 9, and on the 13. And on the offbeats, like 3, 7, 11, and so on, we will use a strum down. Let's listen again. Yeah, that's our basic rhythm. And now, in the next step, we will add other triggers. And these triggers are meant to fill the pattern a little bit, to add some movement and also add some variety. So I will add something on the 5, for example, and also on the 15. But we don't want to steal the focus from our other triggers. So let's pull down the velocity here. So on our main triggers, we have a higher velocity, and on the other ones, we have a lower velocity. Let's listen again. Yeah, it's already getting better. So in the next step, we will add some additional variety. And how can we do that? Let's get two inversions. What is an inversion? When you play a chord, like a C major, for example. C major is C, E, and G. And now, in an inversion, for example, the first inversion, you move the lowest note one octave up. So after that, we still have a C, E, and a G in this chord, but at a different pitch. So it will sound like a different color, but it's basically the same harmonic information. So in Sundog, we can simply say that we want to trigger the chord with a 1, and this is the first inversion then. Or we can use a -1, and that's the first inversion down. So I will use a -1 here, and maybe also -1 here. And let's listen again. Yeah, and let's take a look at the MIDI file. Let's see. As you can see, here we triggered the main chord, so the basic E, G sharp, B chord, and then we triggered the first inversion down. Then the normal chord again, inversion down, and the normal chord. Yeah, we already got a really nice strumming rhythm going, but something is missing, and that's the bass. In this instrument box we use the full chords mode, but now we will add some body to this rhythm and we will use another box for that. Here we'll use octave 3, and in the next box we will use octave 2, so 1 octave down. We will use the same channel, it's also on MIDI channel 1, and Sundog will use this information to merge the notes into one instrument. Okay, so I will use the source mode chord notes now, and in chord notes mode, the sequencer will only trigger single notes, and the 0 is the lowest note of the chord, the 1 is the next note, and so on. So we will work with the bass notes. And I would recommend to use very, very simple patterns here, like putting a trigger on the 1, another one here, and another one here. Solo it. Sounds pretty boring, I guess. But when we mix it with the other box, it sounds fairly good. Yeah, and that's the basic concept how you can create your own strumming lines. And you can also create stuff like this. It follows the same formula. Or something like this one. And as you can hear, there's a lot going on. You can find very interesting strumming lines by using this paradigm of my 6 steps. And what's also nice, and maybe it's a bonus point, when you click on the double tempo here, and then Sundog will play back the pattern twice the tempo. So it sounds like this. Maybe play around with velocity a bit. And this is an easy way to create another variation. Yeah, I hope you like it. And I also created another package for you. It's called the Golden Guitar Package, and you can find it at Feel Sound. I will put the link in the description. And inside this package, you will find some extra patterns for strumming. You can use them as a base for your own creations, and it's free. Yeah, you can use it for any production that you like. And I hope you like it, and see you next time.